Hello students, welcome to second video of the tissues. Now let us see first classification of plant tissues. This is very easy. This is please must read book. So what we learned earlier, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue we discussed three types are there: apical meristem, intercalary and lateral. These three types of tissues we discussed. But permanent tissues, if you see, we can divide them into three types, of course: protective tissue, which protects the plants; supporting tissue, which supports the body of the plants and does other functions also; and the conducting tissue. These conducting tissues means they conduct, either they conduct water or they conduct food. Xylem conducts water, that you have learnt in other classes also, and phloem conducts food. Now in supporting simple permanent tissue there are three, that is called as parenchyma, parenchyma and sclerenchyma. These two are living tissue and this is dead. Now protective tissue is epidermis. Epidermis means covering of the plants. Covering covering of the plants. And cork is a dead protective tissue which is very light and it is impervious to water, means water cannot pass through it. It protects the plants. Water resistant or impervious to water, we can call it. It has got a chemical called as suberin. So this was an outline of classification of plants. This is not required at this stage. We will discuss later on. Now meristematic tissue, we have already discussed. Meristematic tissues are thin walled, living, larger in size, and they have bigger nucleus and located at the tips of the roots and stems. That we all have discussed. We have also discussed the functions. So this I am not going to discuss now. We will come to the other tissues. Permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are formed by the division of the meristematic tissue. Actually, permanent tissue come from where? They come from meristematic tissue. Permanent because they don't divide. Now first come to the types of permanent tissues. Protective tissue is there. For example, protection is must for the plants also. So you can see they are present at these places: roots, stem and the leaves. Their cells are bigger, of course, but walls are very thick. Sometimes they are dead also. For example, cork is a dead tissue. This is a dead tissue. Epidermis is living. Epidermis means covering. Covering is everywhere. You can see on the leaves, stems, flowers, fruits, branches, everywhere. In roots also it is present, but it is called as epiblema. It has got a different name. So that is there. Now let us discuss simple permanent tissues, which are also called as supporting tissues. So the first type is parenchyma, second is collenchyma, and third is sclerenchyma. Now I have drawn very simple diagrams of all these three here. You see here, parenchyma cells are living. You can see all these cells are living. They are round in shape, or shape is variable, but there is lot of intercellular space among them, means in between the cells there is lots of space also. And where it is found, because this tissue will be very soft, so it is found in softer parts of the plants. Thin walled and living characters are mainly present in the soft parts of the plant and outer regions of the cortex. Cortex means the middle part of the branches, stems, etc. Okay. And this has been also divided into different types. For example, when it contains lots of air, it is called as arenchyma, and when it contains lots of chloroplasts, as for example in the leaves, it is called as chlorenchyma, also prosenchyma. Many types are there. They support the plants, of course, the softer parts. They also do storage. They store the food that is the form of starch. They also do photosynthesis. When the leaves they are present, they do photosynthesis also. Now second tissue is collenchyma. Collenchyma cells are living elongated. Elongated means long. You can see collenchyma cells, they are mostly thick at the corners, but they are also living. They are living, but cell wall is thick and more thicker at the corners. They also have some little intercellular spaces, but it is little. It is a supporting or mechanical tissue. It provides strength. It also provides flexibility. You must have seen when the wind blows, the branches, stem, leaves, all they start moving, but they don't break. If they are very rigid, they will break, but due to presence of this collenchyma, they don't break. Collenchyma is mechanical tissue. It provides strength, but it is flexible also. The third tissue which supports plants is called as sclerenchyma. You can see where is sclerenchyma, but this is dead tissue. Sclerenchyma is dead tissue. It is located in the stems. Vascular bundles means xylem and phloem. In the veins, you must have seen the leaf of people plant, Ficus religiosa. When the leaf remains in the soil for many times, for many days, you can find very clearly veins are visible. The soft tissue is gone, but these veins are visible. So that is xylem and phloem, but it also contains sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma tissue, it is of two types again, fibers and the cells. You can see the outer husk of the coconut, that is made up of very long fibers. One is not the cell, it is collection of many cells. The long cells are there, very strong, extremely strong. You cannot break them easily. Even you can see the fruit stalks. For example, I have drawn here a brinjal plant. Its stalk is very, very strong. Fruit stalk. They all contain these fibers, sclerenchyma fibers. Some fruits, raw fruits, it appears to be gritty. For example, if you eat guava, it appears gritty. Gritty means making a sound that something you are breaking. That is called as gritty sound. So this what we discussed just now. Three types of simple permanent tissues: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Parenchyma, collenchyma are living. Sclerenchyma is dead. Now coming to other tissue, the conducting tissues. Okay, before I go to conducting tissues, let us study about what is in the epidermis. Epidermis is the outer covering of the plants, but it is not a continuous and closed layer. It is having small holes, and these holes are called as stomata. You must have read in class 7th or 8th also, so you know about stomata. What are stomata? Stomata are the small holes which are present in the soft parts of the plant. They are mainly located in the leaves, and that too in the lower surfaces. But in some plants, for example rice, maize, or we call the monocot plant, they are present in both the surfaces also. Now if we observe the epidermis under microscope, what we will find? This structure. You can find very tiny holes, and these holes are called as stomata. And these tiny holes are surrounded by two bean-shaped cells, and these two bean-shaped cells are called as guard cells. Guard cells, you can see very clearly, looking like a rajma seed or kidneys. The inner cell wall of the guard cells is very thick, but the outer wall is thin. And also they contain lots of chloroplasts also. Chloroplasts are also present in the guard cells. Guard cells are also sometimes surrounded by different type of cells. Here I have drawn rectangular pink cells. These rectangular pink cells are called as subsidiary cells. Subsidiary cells means helper cells. They help the guard cells. They help the guard cells in opening and closing. You may be knowing, you must have heard, these stomata are open during daytime and closed during night. So it is like a hole, like the windows. And these thin green cells are called as epidermal cells. So this is the diagram of stomata. Now what is function of stomata? Function of stomata is main thing when it is open, the exchange of gases. For plant, the main gas is, actually plants also require oxygen for breathing, respiration. For respiration, but they also require CO2 for photosynthesis. The exchange of gases, when it is open, the gas which is required can come in, for example oxygen can come in, CO2 can come in, and excess of gases can go out also. Also, when they are open, water is lost in the form of vapor. Water is lost in the form of vapor, and this is called as transpiration. So loss of water in the form of vapor from the stomata is called as transpiration. Transpiration helps in cooling of the plants and also helps in rise of the water in the plants, because some trees are very tall. They are very tall, so in them water had to rise from soil to the tip. That is also helped by the stomata. Now come to conducting tissues, xylem and phloem. Please refer diagrams from your book also. Conducting tissues have two functions. The main function is conducting. For example, xylem conducts water and minerals, and phloem conducts food from leaves to the storage parts or where it is to be used. But along with doing these two functions, they also support the plant. The darker part of the trees, you must have seen the trunk of the trees. Now there was storm and many trees had fallen also. You can see the middle part. The middle part is very dark in color, and this is actually the xylem. And outer part is lighter in color is phloem. And xylem and phloem, you can find there are annual rings also, concentric annual rings are also. That is, we can also determine age of the tree also. Now each xylem tissue, you can see xylem is permanent tissue, thick walled. Most of the cells are dead except the xylem parenchyma. Except the xylem parenchyma, all the cells of xylem are dead. Only xylem parenchyma is living. You can see there are 5 elements in tracheids, vessels. They are long tube-like cells. For example, tracheids are long tube-like cells. They have tapering end. They conduct water. They are hollow inside. Vessels are perfect tube-like. They are arranged end to end, and they move. They help in translocation of water, movement of water. Vessels. Fibers, of course, wherever they are present, they will support the plant. And xylem parenchyma stores food. But function of tracheids and the xylem vessels is to transport mainly water. In the same way, phloem also. Phloem is just below the bark. Bark means the covering of the trees. Bark is just niche. There is a lighter tissue called as phloem, and main function of phloem is to passage for movement of food. Food means it is in the form of glucose and sucrose. Starch is not translocated. Starch does not move. Now this phloem has, again it is also got 4 parts. Sieve tubes. Sieve tubes means long cells are there, and their cross walls are having holes. That's why it is called as sieve cells. Sieve means you must have the sieving plate in your home also, sieving plate or sieves. Chalni, it is Hindi called, it is called as chalni, sieve plates. So it helps in movement of food. They are living. Phloem is a living tissue, remember this. Then companion cells are there. Phloem fiber, of course, it will provide strength, and phloem parenchyma helps in translocation. So now you can also write differences between xylem and phloem. Xylem conducts water. Phloem conducts food. Xylem is mainly a dead tissue. Phloem is a living tissue. Xylem is the main supporting tissue also. Phloem is also supporting tissue, but it is not as strong as xylem. Now I think this part is clear. So in the next class we will discuss about the animal tissue.